Welcome back to my channel. Being a new parent is amazing, but it definitely comes with its challenges, right? One of the things I got asked about all the time when baby's name was a newborn was feeding. How much is too much? Are they getting enough? And how can you tell if your baby is overfed? Today, I'm breaking down the top 7 signs to watch out for that could mean your little one is getting a little too much milk. We'll talk about why overfeeding happens and, most importantly, what you can do about it to keep your baby happy, healthy, and comfortable. So, if you're ready to become an overfeeding detective and learn some practical tips to make feeding time a breeze, keep watching. Let's start with a super common one, spitting up. A little spit up after a feed is totally normal. Babies have tiny tummies and a developing digestive system, so some milk might come back up, especially if they're burped or move around a lot. But when we're talking about overfeeding, the spitting up is usually more than just a little dribble. If they're taking in more milk than their little tummy can handle, they're much more likely to spit up, often in larger amounts. So if you're constantly changing your baby's clothes and yours because of spit up, it's definitely something to pay attention to. Frequent spit up can not only be messy, but it can also be uncomfortable for your baby. Think about how you feel after a good meal, content, satisfied, maybe even a little sleepy. Well, babies should feel the same way. A feeding session shouldn't be a wrestling match. If your baby seems fussy, uncomfortable, or is crying more than usual after a feed, it could be a sign they're uncomfortably full. They might pull their legs up to their tummy, arch their back, or turn their head away from the bottle or breast, almost like they're saying, "No more, please!" Trust your instincts, parents. You know your baby best. If something doesn't feel right, it's always best to pause the feeding and see how they respond. Okay, let's talk about gas. For babies, excessive gas can be super uncomfortable, and overfeeding is often the culprit. When we overeat, our digestive system has to work overtime to break down all that food, and that can lead to gas and bloating. The same goes for babies, especially when they're taking in more milk than their system can handle. You might notice your little one is extra fussy, pulling their legs up, or has a hard, distended tummy. We've all been there. Those annoying hiccups that seem to come out of nowhere. While hiccups are super common in babies, especially in the first few months of life, they sometimes be a sign of overfeeding. When a baby eats too quickly or takes in too much air while feeding, it can irritate their diaphragm, which is the muscle that helps us breathe. This irritation can trigger those adorable yet sometimes relentless hiccups. If you notice your baby is getting hiccups regularly after almost every feeding, it could be a sign that they're overfeeding or feeding too quickly. Let's be real for a second. Baby poop is a whole other world. But believe it or not, your baby's diaper can actually tell you a lot about their health, including whether or not they're getting enough or too much to eat. When a baby is overfed, their digestive system can get overwhelmed. Their little bodies are working hard to process all that extra milk, and this can sometimes lead to changes in their poop. You might notice their stools become looser, more frequent, or even explosive. Of course, we want our babies to grow and thrive, and gaining weight is a normal and healthy part of development. But just like with anything else, there's a healthy range, and then there's excessive weight gain, which can sometimes be a sign of overfeeding. This is especially true for bottle-fed babies, as it can be a little easier to overfeed with a bottle than with breastfeeding. Your pediatrician will monitor your baby's growth at each checkup, but it's a good idea to keep an eye on their weight gain yourself. If you're ever concerned that your baby is gaining weight too quickly, don't hesitate to reach out to your pediatrician for guidance. If your baby is constantly refusing feeds later in the day, it could actually be a sign that they're still full from earlier feeds. Babies have tiny tummies. If they're overfeeding at some meals, it's only natural that they might not be as hungry for their next feed. It's important to remember that babies go through growth spurts where their feeding patterns can change dramatically. But if you notice a consistent pattern of your baby refusing feeds, especially if they're showing other signs of overfeeding, it's worth considering whether they might be getting too much milk at earlier feeds. So there you have it, 7 clear signs that your baby might be overfeeding. Remember, every baby is different, and what's normal for one baby might not be normal for another. If you notice any of these signs, or if you have any concerns at all, don't hesitate to reach out to your pediatrician. If you found this video helpful, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more parenting tips and tricks. Until next time, take care of yourselves and your little ones.